here we go. It's Monday. It's time for another episode of the show that is not a show. So is it really an episode? I don't know how that works, but here we are. We are live, coming at you with the Weekly Pint. I'm the Gnarly Gnome, your favorite, hopefully your favorite, blogger, podcaster, drinker. I am a drinker, and that is the best way to describe what I do. I spend a lot of time trying to share the joy of drinking here in Cincinnati with anybody, I guess, who really wants to listen, which is you guys at this moment. You want to listen, so here we are. You can, however, the whole fun part about this show that is not a show is that you can take part in the conversation. So if you're listening to the live stream, you can obviously, you're on Facebook, so you can just type in on the stream there and we can chat that way. Or if you really want to get crazy, you can call in, and we have a special number that's all set up for that. It's called the Drunk Line, 567-70-DRINK. It's 567-703-7465. And you can call in and you can take part in the conversation. But first, I need to know what everybody's drinking, because that is kind of the whole point of this, is that we are hanging out and we are drinking together. So tell me what you've got and I will get something. I had a shade earlier when I got home from work. So I'm just one beer in tonight. But we're going to get going here. I guess I should have a label out. Fibonacci, the ratio golden coffee ale, 5.1%. I was looking on their website to see if they had any information. This is one of the few beers that they make that they don't have anything on their website about. So we're going to dive in and figure it out together. I love that the tape that they seal their growlers up is green. It's on brand. If anybody, I assume if you're listening to this live stream, you've probably been to Fibonacci, or you're at least familiar with them and what they're all about. They are a nano brewery, very tiny, but they are also an urban farm brewery. So they have an urban farm. They've got goats. They've now got chickens. They have beehives, and I think longer-term plans, there's some plans for some other food items to be planted there in the beer garden, and kind of tie it all together and use some of that stuff in beer and just create kind of a different type of place that, it's very different than anything else here in Cincinnati. That's for sure. Or really anywhere that I've been. I've never been to a place like Fibonacci. I'm sure that there are other cool places like it that exist, but certainly not here in town. I guess I should put this somewhere so that it looks clever on the video. Although my little logo stands right in the way. I need a little stand for it so it can sit right here. I don't think I have anything. See, I should be better planned out for things like that. But I'm not. I'm a mediocre podcaster. Sorry. This is here, we'll try this. Fibonacci, there, look at that. Look how perfect that is. Right there. I'm going to end up knocking it over and spilling beer everywhere is what's going to happen. Like I said, it is a very unique type of place. I have never been to a place that is similar to Fibonacci. They have a little tap room that has been there since they opened their doors. And then next door, where they have kind of the urban farm, they have a bigger tap room, and they have Airbnbs and just all kinds of really cool stuff that make it really unique. And they I won't say all of their beers, and I don't know what the percentage is off the top of my head, again, because I'm a mediocre blogger / podcaster. There we go. If Betty was on the stream, she could tell us. It looks really big there, but no, it's just a little howler. I prefer howlers over growlers, honestly. If it's something that the wife and I are sharing, I'm okay with a growler then, but usually we don't go through that much beer in a night normally, especially a weeknight. So the howler works out good. And it was upstairs in the fridge instead of down here, and I pulled it out, and the wife shot me a very mean look and told me not to drink it all. So I have to not consume the whole thing. I have to save some for her. Looks ridiculously big right there. I'm going to figure this out. I promise you guys that at some point I will figure out this whole idea of doing a live stream. I'm not a YouTuber. I know that a lot of these people these days that do stuff like this do a lot of content for YouTube, and they have these really great setups. Although my lighting is pretty freaking cool, but they have these elaborate setups, and they would have thought something like that out a lot more than I did, clearly. But anyways, I haven't even tried the beer yet. Well, I mean, I've had the beer before, but I haven't tried it tonight. Gold Nail with coffee, like I said, 5.1%. This says 19 IBUs. I don't think IBUs really matter worth anything. And I assume that we're all kind of at that point where we don't really care what the IBUs say, right? It's a very poor way to describe a beer, but yeah, I've never checked this in on Untappd, so this is also kind of a very murky version of it. This is not. I assume this is not the first batch because I don't remember it being this murky, but the coffee will do that to you, I guess. I mean, you get right off the top, you get that roasty coffee aroma. And this is not about this beer specifically. I feel like this idea of putting coffee in lighter beers is I won't say a fairly new development because there's definitely been around for a little while, but traditionally, when you think of coffee beers, you would think of big stouts or imperial stouts or beers like that, and this idea to start putting it in lighter beers, I think is fun. It lets the coffee shine a lot brighter and more of a star than it used to be traditionally. And I do like that. So that's kind of fun. I'm thinking in my head about things to do for this setup right here. Like we could take this little light here and put it through the howler somehow to make it, I don't know. And I'm a huge coffee fan in addition to being a huge beer fan. So the idea of being able to have beers where the coffee is a star of the drink, I think is it's a lot. It's fun. It's fun for a coffee fan. It's fun for somebody who might not know that they were a coffee fan that starts to pick out some of these flavors that are in coffee that kind of follow along closely with flavors that people find in beer and really enjoy in beer. So it's fun. It's fun. I need to drink the beer. I would say I'm too chatty, but I think that's the whole point of this thing. Mm. Yeah, it's perfect. It's light. It's got a little bit of not necessarily a creaminess, but uh, like a little bit of like a light sweetness to it that mimics like I don't know, one of those Starbucks drinks you would get with like little stuff sprinkled on it and whipped cream and all that crap. A mocha choca latte, whatever. That's not a real thing, is it? And yeah, like I said, the coffee becomes a star of the beer. So it's fun to drink. This one's a little cold still because it's upstairs on the regular fridge, but really enjoyable. Not Definitely not what I remember it looking like, though. It's not traditionally pretty because it is that kind of murky orange, whatever color you would consider that. I hope you guys can see that color. Um, so yeah, nobody's telling me what they're drinking. This is also kind of a new thing um, for Fib, as far as I've noticed. They've got their own little growler caps now, which I like. The collector in me likes this. So I like beer paraphernalia. My basement's a bit of a shrine to drinking and to Cincinnati beer in a lot of different ways, and I like having stuff like this just laying around the basement. But yeah, I don't know if you guys can really see that. It's just their logo on a growler cap. Something I think's cool. I know Taft's had these at one point. I don't know if they still do. When Braxton first opened up, they had caps for like all of their core beers, so they would put them on the ground. I like little details like that. I know it's a pain in the butt, and it's probably not the most efficient way to do things, but I just think it's cool. I don't know. Maybe I'm alone in that. What else is going on? So this week on Cincy Brewcast, which is my podcast that hopefully you're aware of. Every week we go and just talk Cincinnati beer somewhere. It is actually a show. It's a little more formatted. It's consistent. It a little more thought goes into each week. But this last week we were at Northern Row talking to them kind of about this journey of getting the doors open, which has been a very long one for them. And we kind of talked about who they are and what they're all about, and just explored that place a little bit, drank a bunch of beers, worked our way through a good sized flight of pretty much everything they had on tap that night. They something that I appreciate. They're leaning really heavy into the lager game and pushing really hard into kind of these historical styles that they feel kind of represents what Cincinnati was at one time, or kind of is at the very core of our beer scene, I guess. What makes us a beer city, and that's a big part of that is lagers, and so they are going pretty heavy into that. It's fun to have a place where on tap at the same time you've got a German Pilsner and a Helles and things like that, where you can kind of compare stuff back and forth. We'll see if that kind of sticks around. They've got a Marzen on right now, and from what they said, they're planning on trying to keep a Marzen on tap year round, which I am all about because I'm a lager nut, and as far as lagers go, I love Pilsners, but yeah, Marzen is definitely pretty high up there on the list. Something a little maltier and a little more robust, I guess, if that's a good way to put it. I like a zippy, kind of hoppy, snappy Pilsner, but yeah, Marzen's, Bock beer, things like that, I'm all about it. So it's fun seeing that. I hope that stays a thing there. They had a really fun bourbon barrel aged. Was it an Imperial Stout or a Doppel? I think it was an Imperial Stout, and I have a bottle of that sitting in the fridge, so we'll have to drink that sometime on this show or one of the shows. Or sorry, this isn't a show. One of the projects, we'll call it, at some point. So stay tuned for that. Coming up on the Brewcast this week, I believe this week. Let me check the calendar before I tell you that it's this week. This week we are, or next week, we will be at Brink. So that show will be on the 6th. The week after that, I believe we're going to be sitting down with Mike Stokes from Cincy Brew Bus to kind of talk about well, just to talk. And so that'll be fun. I did the other night, I also got to stop at Third Eye very briefly. I didn't get to drink through as many of their beers as I would have liked to, but I was impressed with definitely impressed with the space. The beer seems like it is right on track. I didn't have any issues with it. I talked to a couple people that weren't happy with a couple of them, but I trust. I trust in Kelly, obviously. Yeah, Brink should be interesting with the transition. I mean, you never know. Hopefully, we'll be able to talk about it kind of a little bit and get some kind of perspective on it. I think he's been, and I say he is in Andy McLeese. He's been pretty honest on social media. I think definitely on his personal kind of social media, but I think on the brewery social media, they've been pretty open about kind of how they feel about it. I'm working on getting a show with Third Eye together also in the coming weeks. I might have a date set for that already. I don't actually know off the top of my head, but I think it'll be a very different conversation there. You know, there's still a lot to talk about of kind of who they are. Have any of you guys been to Third Eye? Because I'm curious kind of how you feel about it. Like I said, the beer is great. The space is beautiful. I didn't eat there, but the food looked amazing. But man, new construction in breweries, I'm starting to, I don't know. Not that I don't like it, because it creates for a lot of times a better, more cohesive, thoughtfully laid out space. But it just misses a piece of kind of the soul that some of these other places have. 50 West, Coast to Coast. Oh man, that sounds good. I haven't had a Coast to Coast in a while. I drank what is their sauce on the side Pilsner. That's probably the last 50 West beer I had. If anybody hasn't been out to their burger bar / beer garden, it is one of the more hopping places in town right now. Although, going back to Third Eye, I've driven by there a few times, and they've been pretty crazy as far as how crowded they've been. Properly socially distanced, I guess, still, but they have a huge, a big 2-story patio, so they've got upstairs and a downstairs patio area. And then in addition, I'm assuming this is just because of all the COVID crap, but they've got the grass kind of all around the building roped off too, with tables and spaces for you to sit, which is awesome. All right, Matt Damaris, see what he says. They went to Third Eye, got 2 flights with everything on the board. We'll go back. 2 are really good. 5 out of the 8 I would go back to. 2 were really good. So that leaves 1 that you didn't like. I'm curious to know which one. So I tried when I was there, see if I can remember it off the top of my head. I had the Czech Pilsner that they had just tapped that day. And it was good. I had there was a wee heavy that I had, the hazelnut brown, and then what was the other one I had? It was another lighter one. I'm gonna have to cheat and look at my Untapped. Oh, and I hate trying to log into Untapped on here because it wants me to prove that I'm not a robot and stuff. Prost. What about newer upcoming brews you're excited about? Sorry if I missed a previous exchange. No, so new stuff, new this week and out in stores. I'm definitely really pumped right now about Double Gavel Banger. So, complete disclosure, Taft's gave me a bunch of Double Gavel Banger for free. So that's coming up on this week's episode of Prost. And then I put an article up about it today. You have to get on there and actually search for it, but I'm excited about that. I'm eagerly waiting for the next dinosaur beers from Urban Artifact. I've been out of them in the fridge here for way too long at this point, and I'm looking forward to that. I'm assuming when they release them next, we're gonna have the format shift of them, which I'm also excited about. They're moving them to smaller bottles. Um, Sorry, I'm looking here. Beyond Sight by Third Eye Brewing. See, I don't know if I hate when I don't know what he's. I can't just look at it. Let's see. Higher Consciousness is the Wee Heavy. Beyond Sight is the Brown Ale. Good Living is the Pilsner. Enlightenment was the other one. Oh, it was the wheat beer with raspberries. That was good too, but I'm just kind of a fruit beer nut. So we're in Sarasota. Spent last week in Siesta Key and fell in love. You went to Florida? You know you're probably infected now. That's a joke, of course. Is anybody freaked out about all of that right now? And about this concern that things are going to get shut down again? We've seen kind of the craziness keep breaking out in Florida and Texas. We're definitely spiking back up to some degree here too, and it's the last thing that I think any one of us wants is to see tap rooms and bars and things shut back down after finally getting them back, So I'm curious if anybody is where everybody's heads are as far as that goes. I am also gonna start to word this very carefully. I'm going to start pushing a little harder into experimenting with seltzers this summer and trying to really figure this out of which one I like the best, if I like one the best, and really start putting some thought into how I feel about the category, because it is a category. You can't ignore it forever. I don't think it's craft beer, but it's definitely something we need to pay attention to. So if you're a seltzer nut, stay tuned for that. There's going to be a lot of content in the future about that. Jeff says it's a bit of a concern that DeWine will get gun shy. The pushback will be heavy if he shuts us down again. It's going to get nuts if it happens. But Matt Demera says Jelly Brain and Astral were our two favorites at Third Eye. Jason says he's going to Florida, but have been stockpiling beer from here, long distance social distancing. That's the way to do it. Or, I still think you could probably get some local beer while you're down there. Just be careful about how you're getting it, and then just hang out, by the pool at your hotel and drink it all there. But the beaches would freak me out right now. I wouldn't want to be around other people, even if it's outside, around a crowd of people. I don't know. I'm in this weird kind of middle ground of some situations are really freaking me out, and then other ones I'm just completely okay with. And I don't know. I think you maybe just don't know. Oh, excuse me, guys. I'm always yawning on the show. You don't know until you're right there, heading into a situation, and kind of see what it looks like and how people are doing things. I wish more people were wearing masks. It would make me feel a whole lot better about things, and it would at least make me feel better that everybody's kind of trying to help each other, and I feel like we aren't at all as a society. I mean, craft beer is very different, and the community within craft beer, I feel, is very different with how people look out for each other. But just in general, it's been just such a weird time. And I was really hoping that about this point in the summer, we would be able to see some kind of light at the end of the tunnel, but I still just don't see it at all. Beaches were very socially distant, and most bars were outdoor seating, not crazy busy. Well, that's good because some of the pictures that I've seen have been very not that. So I'm glad to hear that you had a good experience with it, especially when depending on what news channel you turn on, you get just these very different pictures of what is happening in any given area right now. So I don't know, man. We'll get there, I guess. What else is going on lately? Let's see. I mentioned the double gavel banger that if you guys haven't managed to snag some of that, do it. It really has given me a big reminder about how great, just not just double gavel banger, but just gavel banger in general, how great that beer is. And almost, I want to say it's underrated as far as an IPA goes, but at the same time, like it won that reader poll or whatever with like Cincinnati.com or whatever it was last year. Was it last year? So clearly people are talking about it and people are, understanding that it's a great beer, but you don't hear people just raving it. But I guess any straight up, West Coast IPA or a double IPA or anything, you don't hear people raving about anymore. It's all these, one-off New Englands that people want to talk about. So maybe that's part of the problem too. But yeah, gavel banger all the way. I stopped the night I was picking up that 6-pack. I stopped at the Brewporium. I was at Brink, and an old buddy came up and hugged me. I was really doing well till that point. Yeah, I've struggled with that a little bit. I haven't had anybody just come up and hug me, but even just shaking people's hands in public is like it just has always been like this second nature thing when you see somebody just to walk up and shake somebody's hand, like the then it's like this awkward thing of like where you feel like you need to be acknowledging like, hey, I would be shaking your hand right now, but it's like at what point does that get old and we just everybody remembers that that's just a thing, and like I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever get used to any of this crap. Yeah, so new breweries, getting out there with them. There are still a lot of places that are not new that I'm desperate to get back out to. It's hard as always. The finding time to just get out there and have a beer's harder and harder. But always finding time somewhere. Closures, I guess we could talk about that a little bit. The big rumors about places that are not going to open their doors again. I think we talked probably last week or the week before maybe about the rumors, that 3 Points is done for. Although there's also rumors that that's not entirely true, that they may still be kind of holding on a little bit. I don't have faith in that though. And then the newest, I shouldn't say the newest one because it's always kind of a thing that people talk about, but Woodburn abruptly closed their doors. They abruptly closed their doors, I don't know, it was a few weeks ago, and didn't really give a reason on their social media, just said, hey, we're temporarily closed. I can't remember how they worded it. Let me look that up. The rumor that I had heard at that time was that they had a flood or something in the tap room or in the actual brewery and had to get that fixed. Then I haven't read the article because you have to. Yeah, so Oh, jeez, come on. The article that was posted on the Business Courier. I'm not paying for the Business Courier. Same, the same again. They just have never opened back up. They posted on their social media 2 weeks ago. So June 10th was when they posted it that the tap room is closed temporarily. That was 2 weeks ago, and then they just have never posted anything else and never opened back up. And then a lot of the employees got laid off, and then, like I said, the Business Courier wrote an article that the headline, and again, I didn't read the whole article because I haven't logged in through the library to read it without paying, was that it was COVID related, but that made it sound like it was going to be opening back up. They're going to be selling Rotten Beer Jungle Gyms again. I might be interested. Yeah, that was interesting. They were selling that hammer for a very long time. How big was their system? 15 barrels. Yes, it's 15 barrel, and then smaller, like a 5-barrel pilot system or something. But if they're closing, it's going to be pried out of their hands by a bank, and somebody's going to try to buy it that way. There's going to be all kinds of people chomping at the bit to get a hold of that. Not just the brewery, but that space, if somebody can get in there for a reasonable price. There was a interesting post on Reddit from somebody who said they were an employee there that laid out kind of how all of that has played out, and it falls right in line with some of the things that I've heard, so I'll take it for fact. So I will quote this as them saying this and not me, even though I've heard it from several other people. But when everything went down, or actually right kind of before that, they were toying with the idea of selling the brewery. And by they, I mean Denny. Brewdog looked at it. Brewdog ended up going different direction, obviously, and ended up down in Pendleton. And then Braxton made an offer that the quote was a lowball offer. That's not me saying it. And that kind of pissed the Woodburn of that time off. And they then pulled it from being for sale and never really made any other progress towards anything happening as far as that goes. So that was the big kind of movement. How was that, like a year or two ago? I don't know, something like that. Oh Lord. So there's always something happening at Woodburn, even when there's nothing happening at Woodburn. I actually feel bad about Woodburn because it is such a great space and had such amazing. Why is everybody going to Florida right now? What is wrong with all of you? I feel like I'm the only person that is still holed up in my basement. Or is that just a joke because is it just because it's so humid here? I know that Justin and Brad, you guys you guys are insane. You guys just jumped on here. But Jeff Stein from March 1st was just telling us a little bit ago that he had just come back from Florida too. y'all, y'all are gonna bring it back here. Well, I guess it's already here, so I don't know. Don't go outside. Quit licking doorknobs, Justin. Um, don't go anywhere. Don't talk to anybody. Wear your mask. Wear gloves. Wear a hazmat suit. Scrub yourself down before you walk back in your room. Um, I'm a little bit jealous that you guys get to go in here. Although it's pretty freaking hot and humid here too. Today was nuts. Somebody said it was because of that big dust thing that was blowing in as part of what kind of made it so humid and so just heavy outside today. But it was rough. The beaches are socially distant. Yeah. Justin, you can't get in here to kiss me. I've got this place locked down so good. I've got like multi layers of defenses, like, giant walls built around the compound so that people can't get in here and infect me. Although, they better not shut down haircuts. I got mine cut. I did go, I don't know, a week ago or something. Masked up and went and got my hair cut. Yeah, everybody's telling me the beaches are socially distant, but I saw Fox News. They're saying they're not, or no, I guess CNN would be the one telling me that they're not. That's a joke, too, sort of. I mean, it really does depend what channel you turn on to what people are saying things are like. You watch one channel and everybody's telling you that this is the end of the world and we're still in this first kind of wave of this and it's going to get 100 times worse. And then there's other people there's other people that are telling you that we're in the home stretch. And Lord, show us the dew. I don't even know what that means. The dew. It really depends what beach you go to. Also, we're in Venice. Yeah, we have I had some family that just got back from Florida too, so I'm curious to kind of talk to them and see what their experience was. I would love to go on a vacation right now, just by myself. um, it's just been, oh, the hairdo. I gotcha. It's the same as it always is. It's just hair. Nothing exciting. People getting freaky at the club is ruining it for all the beachgoers. I do think that is a big part of it. Um, Somebody made a comment about it was young people. It was how they worded it, which to me was pretty clear that it was just all of the kids out partying and grinding up on each other. That going to Cooper's Hawk tomorrow. What beers do they have on tap? I have not been to Cooper's Hawk for a really long time, so I can't necessarily tell you what they have on tap. But they usually have a pretty good selection, if I remember right. Let's see if I can find anything on here. They are not really on Untapped, but there have been 3 people that have checked. I also don't know, are there more than one Cooper's Hawk locations around here? Because that would throw all this off too. Oh no, that's 3 beers that I have had that are there. So global, I guess there is a beer just called Cooper's Hawk too. That is like they have like a house beer, and I don't know who makes it. And there were a couple people that checked in that this month. Um, one of my Kenwood and Liberty. Yeah, I knew there was one in Kenwood. I don't know where there's one Liberty though. I don't know. What am I looking for? I'm trying to see if I can tell you what is on tap, but I can't. It's a pet peeve of mine. I think I was getting ready to say that about not being able to find, what the beer list somewhere is. And I recognize that that's a little difficult sometimes as um things are changing. Let's see. Especially now with carryout, I mean, I should be able to check all of that stuff very easily, but I can't. We are gonna start winding down here, guys, too, so I can get upstairs and make sure the little guy's not terrorizing my wife. Cooper's Hawk. Because they could always put it on social media, right? But they don't. I don't even see a Facebook page for them. So, no, I don't know what they have on tap. But let us know when you go there. I do remember that the times that I've been there, they have a pretty good beer selection. Obviously, way more wine than they have beer, but pretty good. And I've actually had cocktails there that have been pretty good. Sitting out on the patio there. I work kind of in that area, so. Oh, good. That's my wife that says the boy is fine. I don't believe her because I hear some kind of noise going on above me. So I don't know if he is being rocked around or wheeled around the house or something, but there's some kind of chaos going on up there. Have you been drinking today? I've been drinking tonight. Wait, they have wine. Yeah, they have a couple wines there. They do have, yes, smart ass, they have wine. But they have this, what is it, like an almond something or other? Do you know what I'm talking about? Some kind of almond wine that's amazing. It's really good. Carry out is awesome. Let's drink in the streets. I'm all about drinking in public. She's rocking the bassinet. See, I told you I heard chaos above me. Um, it's funny because I never planned this out when I decided to put a podcast studio in my basement. Yeah, that's so the way our house is laid out. Right where I'm sitting is like it's not even underneath of the couch. The couch is like right here. So now there's like a walkway. There's a walkway just right above where I sit when I'm recording things. And you can always hear chaos. I have not gotten her the bomb pop seltzer yet. I will though. I told you we're diving into seltzer pretty hard this summer. Almond wine. Yeah, get the almond. It's I don't know if it's I can't remember if it was like a almond prosecco or something like that. I don't know. It was good. Best thing about Hamilton, yes. Best thing about Yetis, like a Yeti, like a cup. You can drink in public just about anywhere you want to now. It's pretty easy. That is the good thing about seltzers too. It just doesn't look like you're drinking. You should be ashamed. If people could see how much Mick Ultra is in our garage fridge right now, people would be ashamed. There's a bunch of Mick Ultra and Truly hard seltzer, and what was it? The Barefoot. I don't. Do they call it hard seltzer? It's like a wine spritzer thing. It's embarrassing, that fridge up there. But we are diving hard into seltzer, and Jeff, I've don't always look at the spirits labels the way I do beer labels, but I did happen to see that there happened to be a bomb pop um, schnapps, maybe, that is coming. Oh, I'm all about a porch bomb. Yes, I know my brother has definitely um, enlisted your services. It's not embarrassing. It is embarrassing. We're this is a local beer show that isn't a show. Drinking um, Mick Ultra. Um, yeah, I don't think anybody locally makes Mick Ultra. Well, I will. I will definitely send you my address if you want to drop off um, some seltzer. We are going to do a really big. I've probably talked about this on here before. We're going to do a really big seltzer taste test at some point and figure out what the best is. And I don't really know the proper way to do that. I don't know if I should just use Untapped and figure out, like the one or two best flavors from all of the big players, and then everybody locally that's in packaging that's easy to get, and do it that way, or just pick like a flavor that everybody has or most everybody has, and then do them all side by side, kind of blind, and figure it out. But I don't know. Got to figure out something. Marco, I will let you know because it's going to be a whole bunch of seltzer. I feel that would be I feel like I would just be burping for the next like 6 months afterwards. Um, I will definitely let you know. I don't know. Yeah, I saw that one too. I didn't want to spoil that surprise. The I guess we can spoil it on here. There's only, right now, like what, 9 or 10 people listening at this second. So, the root beer schnapps is another one that I saw. And then you guys are always fun though, because you have so many things that are approved that are just kind of in that research and development phase. Yeah, root beer schnapps. I'm telling you, I can't wait for it. If anybody has not tried the peppermint schnapps from March 1st, it's freaking incredible, and makes me really excited for this idea of doing other schnapps. I want releases upon releases. I want to be able to go and buy a different bottle of schnapps every other month, and just keep my bar loaded with different flavors, because it's so fun just to drink by itself. Number one, because they've got a little bit of a kick to them. They bottle those suckers at like 100 proof. So they're fun to kind of sip on just by themselves, but it also makes them really, really fun for cocktails, because they've got enough punch behind them to kind of give a cocktail some body and some character to it. But then that flavor, yes, the peppermint schnapps with the Swiss chocolate stout, tang. Yeah, see, that would be really good too. Tang schnapps. Oh, yeah. All right. We need to wrap this up because we're at 50 minutes, and I've always told myself that I'm going to try to keep this to closer to a half hour. So stay tuned for Prost this week. If you don't listen to Prost or watch Prost, I guess it's a watch thing. It's an Instagram show, Instagram TV. What about a Zima flavor? No. Instagram TV. It's called Prost, and I just drink a different beer each week and kind of talk about a different beer or a different something. Maybe we'll do a seltzer at some point on there. Maybe we'll do some schnapps on there at some point. Maybe I'll wait till it gets really hot and muggy and do peppermint schnapps as an episode. But this week is a double gavel banger. So thanks to Tafts for hooking me up first with some double gavel banger to make that happen. And obviously subscribe to Cincy Brewcast and tell all your friends about all of the gnome stuff that exists, because that's how it all keeps growing, and how people find out about it is from people like you, because I don't really advertise anywhere, so that's really the only way to do it. But I appreciate you guys very, very much. I especially appreciate those of you who support me on Patreon, because that definitely makes it a whole lot easier to keep doing all this stuff and to keep putting some kind of power behind creating new things. So I appreciate everybody a lot. For those of you who do support on Patreon, we've been, and I say we as in the wife and I, have been trying to figure out a way to do some kind of socially distanced get together. So stay tuned for that. I'll post it in the Patreon page, which should, if I ever get a chance to sit down and set it up, post right to the Nomies page on thenarlygnome.com. So stay tuned for all that stuff. I'm off track. It's I don't like the housekeeping stuff as part of the show. It's not fun, so it's kind of boring to listen to. But this was the Weekly Pint, and we'll be back next week, and the week after, and the week after, and we'll probably be there the week after, and the week after. So stay tuned for that, the week after.